This is the planetary overview for August 2014. I'm Jeff Jower for Planet Pulse.
And I'm Rick Levine. It's the Leo time of year.
Yay, party!
Well, Leo is often considered a party sign because there's this element of playfulness and childlikeness. Leo is every planet's associated with a sign and every sign with a planet. And it's the sun time of year. The sun rules the heart. We come from our heart with a childlike innocence of everything is out in the open.
Yeah, and I think that's a very healthy and desirable expression of the sun in Leo. But we can also have the childlike insecurities that come out as bombastic, overstated, self-important, egotistical, which are part of the shadow sides of the sign Leo.
And once every 12 years, as the sun is moving through the sign of Leo, it just so happens that Jupiter, which is a 12-year cycle, is also in Leo, which it is this month, which makes Leo even more Leo.
Well, that's right. The exact conjunction of the Sun and Jupiter was late last month, I think, on the 24th of July. But we are bathing in this solar Leo power of creativity. And I think that's the real issue here. When we get caught up into ourselves as we are, I think we grow stagnant and represent, again, a less desirable side of the sign Leo. When we are dynamic and creating and loving and expressing and taking risks in living our lives, then I think we really tap into this expansive power of both the Sun and Jupiter in Leo.
And it's the Sun and Jupiter and Mercury, and on the 12th, Venus joins the crowd in Leo. So there's a lot of Leo energy throughout at least the first part of the month until the planets start leaving and heading off to the next sign, Virgo.
And yet, as is always the case, we got a lot of planets to talk about. They move throughout the month, and there are going to be countercurrents. One of the most significant countercurrents works throughout the month, and that's Mars, the action planet, recently entered in Scorpio in the last couple of days of July. And Mars, or methods in Scorpio, says, listen, you have to get down to the marrow. You have to get to the center of things. And that contrasts with Leo's grandiosity. So again, if we want to make the grand real, we're going to have to nail down the details.
Right. And it turns out that several of these planets, as the month progresses, forms exact squares with Mars that really bring this issue home. And yet Mars isn't the only planet in Scorpio. We also have Saturn in Scorpio too. So the planets will one by one also square Saturn, which is another layer of like, oh, if you didn't get it right, now you have to. Now there's this kind of like you either have to get it right or pay the price.
Yeah, and while Saturn's a container, and if we put the fire of our creativity, our love, and Leo into an appropriate container, we can sustain the fire. We get a big test on that on the 10th of the month. That is the full moon, when the moon in Aquarius opposes the Sun in Leo, and Saturn's at right angles to both, saying, brilliant ideas, wonderful creativity, what are you going to do to make it real?
Right, and I think that is an important turning point in the month. Another important turning point in the month is the new moon a couple weeks later on the 25th. And again, we have Saturn in the picture, but this time we have Saturn in the picture with Mars. And this is a pretty intense new moon.
That's right. Every August, we go through a shift around the 22nd of the month, give or take a day, when the Sun leaves expressive Leo and enters competent, application-oriented, and earthy Virgo. The new moon in Virgo on the 25th is doubly efficient and focused because Saturn and Mars are joined together in Scorpio that day.
That's right. And Saturn is the planet of serious karmic consequences to events, and Mars is the planet of just do it. So we have Mars, the gas pedal, and Saturn, the brake, and it's learning to work the two of those together that actually creates the most lasting and enduring productivity from our efforts.
Yeah, and there's another theme sort of woven in and out through the month of a very different flavor, a bubbly, frothy theme of expansive Jupiter's awkward quincunx with dreamy, diaphanous Neptune. And while the downside of that can reinforce illusions and fantasies. Hopefully the upside of that is, if we're going to be creative, if we're going to love, if we're going to work, what's the higher purpose? How does that salve the soul?
Yeah, well said. And there's yet one more important theme throughout the month, and that is, we talked about how the Scorpio planets of Mars and of Saturn perhaps restrain or cause dynamic or creative conflict with all of that expressive Leo energy. But that Leo energy also, each of those planets, one by one, form harmonious trines with wild and crazy and ingenious Uranus and Aries. And this releases energy. This is neither good nor bad by itself. It's really how the energy is released, but it really allows the energy to flow in ways that we do not expect. And if we don't get in the way of ourselves, this can bring some very, very powerful, new and exciting results.
Yeah, so that's our overview for the month here on Planet Pulse. But if you want to drill down to the details, check in with Rick and me here every day for Planet Pulse.